Hi, I'm Julianne, and I teach Stress RX here at Super Yoga Palace, and I am joined today with Jessica and Leah, and you're in for a big dose of stress relief and anxiety management because I know we could all use some. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started, and I'm going to give you the option here to either come directly onto your back and taking a blanket at home. If you have one, go ahead. We're going to roll it up into a sort of hot dog style, about maybe halfway. And this is going to just come underneath the shoulder blades. And we're just going to create a little bit of a lift here so we can work through any sort of stress and tension that is being held in the chest and shoulder areas. So you can, play with the size of the hot dog, whether you want to put it on the spine or just underneath horizontally the shoulder blades. Yeah. And then allowing yourself to really stretch out here. Allowing the ankles to splay open. Maybe allowing the palms to turn up if the shoulders are tense. Or perhaps it would feel more comforting to take the palms to the lower belly and gently hold there. And as these two lovely ladies just allow themselves to get comfortable on the mats, I want to share with you that our practice here today is really going to utilize a series of techniques through ratio breath, through self-touch and practicing self-compassion, and through poses really targeted at stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system to really help you regulate all those crazy racing thoughts and to find some release both physically, mentally, and emotionally. So as you get settled into the mat wherever you are, we're going to practice some ratio breath here. And so here, allowing yourself to use the diaphragm, a deep breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1, pausing at the top, and exhale through the nostrils out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Go ahead and do that again, allowing the breath to fill from the belly through the lungs all the way to the chest. And then slowly exhaling, navel contracts as you release out. Good. One more time here, practicing that balanced breath. So we can work to find balance when there is a lot of imbalance through thoughts and emotions. Good. And perhaps you decide that this 4x4 breath is good just right where you're at. Or if you're ready, you can go ahead and keep that inhale at 4, pausing at the top, and then exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Inhale for 4. Pause, gently swirling the air at the top, and then exhale, release out again for 6. So option here to continue that breath, or should you be ready to really try to relax and release a little bit more, maybe you go ahead and try breathing in for 4. Pause, and then exhaling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And no worries, perhaps if 8 doesn't reach your lung threshold, it's too much, you can scale back. But just a reminder here, anytime that we use the breath and focus on lengthening that exhale, we're really doing what we can to reduce stress and anxiety. Okay. And then giving yourself a moment here, we're going to allow ourselves to check in mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And the point is to notice, to allow, to soften and then release. The whole point of our practice today. And so here, should you need to readjust whether or not this position is serving you, or you would like to come into a child's pose, if you have pillows at home, you can have a supported child's pose, and taking those pillows in between the legs. But always a reminder that you're welcome to change in a way that serves your body throughout this practice. But for right now, I would like for you to invite in some awareness to your thoughts. And here, giving yourself a chance to be an observer of those thoughts and seeing if you can notice any patterns. Meaning, are the thoughts spinning in the future? Are they replaying the past? Or do you notice that they allow you to listen to the sound of my voice, to the sound of your breath, and be really in the present? You may even get curious about the content of your thoughts, knowing that in this time with coronavirus, that there can be feelings and maybe thought patterns around feeling helplessness, fear, being out of control, uncertainty. But just seeing if you can know where your thoughts are taking you in terms of content. And from here, seeing if we can invite in awareness to the emotions and the experiencing of them in the body. So as you're breathing, scanning from the crown of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. Seeing if you can note areas of tension, of heaviness. Maybe you're feeling fidgety. But seeing if you can name perhaps where emotions are residing in your body from the observer's standpoint, such as, I notice tension in my jaw. Or I'm experiencing fear in the tightness of my chest and the knots in my stomach. But allowing and seeing if we can soften here then with our experience, knowing and trusting that we will move from this moment. We are capable of connecting and moving. And then lastly, doing a spiritual check-in. So often in times of feeling out of control, it can be important to have a spiritual practice, whatever that is, whether it's connecting with nature, the concept of knowing that there is a plan, that you're not alone. But taking some moments here to reflect about what your spiritual practice have been like for you, and maybe ways that you could connect more. Now we've done a thorough check-in, and seeing if we can use the body and the breath in a way to continue to release those thought patterns, release the emotional and physical pain and stress and anxiety. So here, inviting in small movement through fingers and toes, maybe rotating ankles and wrists. Maybe starting to deepen that inhale. And just seeing if you can feel even in this moment, a slight release, as well as welcoming gentle movement. And then here, maybe rocking the head side to side ever so slowly. Maybe pausing to allow the ear and the shoulders to connect a little bit more and feel that side stretch in the neck. Knowing the neck and shoulders are a hot spot for tension. Just rolling through here ever so slowly. And when finding neutral, you can go ahead and start to bring the arms up overhead, really pointing those toes and a long stretch throughout the body, arching the lower back. And we'll go ahead and we're going to go on and curl into that fetal position. I know so often this is done at the end of class, but here we're really practicing nurturing ourselves in times of high stress. So rolling over, you can move the blankets or pillows in a way that serve you. And really practicing here in this fetal position, inviting in some gentle self-touch. So you may just kind of hold your arms. Maybe you curl in just a little bit more, but creating a cocoon of nurturance for yourself. And before we move, an offering to invite in a mantra, an affirmation, bringing in all of us to this experience. So maybe it sounds something like, in this moment, I can be calm. In this moment, my anxiety is with me, but not overpowering me. Or this too shall pass. Or whatever words feel like you need to hear. And when you've settled on something, go ahead, taking a deep inhale as you repeat it in your mind. And then slowly allowing yourself to prop yourself up and transition into a tabletop position. So taking your sweet, sweet time, knowing that throughout today's practice, we're not worried on things being perfect or rigid. But finding yourself in tabletop position, really taking time here to set up a wide base of support. So fingers spread, ankles in line, wrists in line with elbows and shoulders, hips width apart, letting the breath move you. The inhales, you expand and lengthen. Exhales, contract and tune in to yourself. Maybe inviting in some hip movement, some neck, circles. No right or wrong here. Just seeing if we can work with energy in the body to release and soften. Good. And then we'll go ahead and we'll find ourselves in that neutral tabletop position. And we're going to go into just a simple dynamic movement here. And so although we are going to start in our tabletop, instead of arching into cow, we're going to go ahead and we're going to allow the elbows to guide us as we slowly lower ourselves into child's pose, heels to touch, forehead to rest. Good. And we'll go ahead and slow, like moving through honey, coming up onto tabletop. And this time we're going to count as we exhale down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Finding that softness and that support. Pausing here for 1 breath cycle. And then you'll go ahead and inhale, coming back up into tabletop. Seeing here if we can be smart using the breath ratio to continue this pattern, exhaling for 6. Slow and controlled, finding that softness and ease, that rest and support at the bottom. Good. And coming up again here. We'll do 2 more. So on the next exhale, you'll shoot for 7. Really listening to your breath, feeling every micro movement as you learn to settle. One last time here. Knowing that it's okay, that if in this moment you're wanting to just move through this quickly, notice that. But notice when you can come back in a slow and controlled manner, using the breath and finding stillness. And when you've reached the end of that 8-count exhale, you'll just rest in child's pose. And then here you get the option of whether you keep those arms out and extended, or if you feel like a little more release in the shoulders and wanting to create a bit of a cocoon, you could take the arms behind you, palms up. Or perhaps if your hips are tighter, you would like to take the toes to touch and open up the knees in a V shape to allow yourself more opportunity to sink back into the hips. And then here, wherever you are, we'll go ahead and invite in some purposeful tensing. So we're practicing movement in a very small way, and then releasing. So even here in this child's pose, you're going to go ahead and on the inhale, you'll go ahead and curl the hands into a fist as you breathe in. So curling, tensing, purposely allowing the stress and anxiety to be there. And then exhale, releasing, noticing the difference just within the arms and the shoulders. Do that 2 more times. So purposely invite in tension, and then soften and release. 1 more time here. Good. All right. If your arms are behind you, gently swinging them out and around. We'll go ahead and we're going to move into tabletop, and from tabletop we'll come up into our downward dog. So taking your sweet, gentle time here, but setting yourself up, curling the toes, focusing on the thumb and forefinger, internally rotating the forearms, externally rotating the shoulders as you lift the hips up here. Whether you want to pedal out the legs one at a time, good. We're just going to allow the spine to decompress here and extend. And whether or not you kind of want to invite in some gentle rocking movement, side to side, once again, there is no right or wrong way to do this. Or find stillness. And then we'll go ahead and walk those feet up to meet your hands. And then go ahead, grab opposite elbows here. Gentle or generous bend in the knees so we can feel the hamstrings release. And here I encourage you to use some movement by rocking back and forth. Imagine just like you soothe a baby, any sort of rocking motions. Allowing the breath to still be soft and smooth and nourishing. Letting yourself hang here for a second. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and release those elbows. Come into your halfway lift, extending the spine and the crown out here. And then exhale, fold. Good. And then from here, we'll slowly come up vertebrae by vertebrae into our mountain pose. Taking time here to feel all 10 toes when we reach the top, and feel the heels. Feel the arches lift here. Allow the palms to turn open, shoulders to drop, chin to tuck. I want you just to feel the strength that you have, reminding yourself in difficult times, we have the strength within us and around us to make it through. And when you're ready, you'll go ahead and you can take either foot back, but we're just going to come and swivel into essentially a wide-legged forward fold. Okay. So taking time here, feeling the outer edges of the feet really glued, stuck, and rooted. And here we're just going to go ahead and hinge at the hips, exhaling out. And then finding opposite elbows here in that ragdoll. Once again, all these forward folds really good for anxiety and stress. Yeah, you can invite in movement if you're feeling extra. You can go side to side or find that stillness, allowing as much generous bend in the knees as possible so you can feel that release through the back hamstrings once again. And then when you're ready, we'll go ahead, release the elbows. Inhale, halfway lift, extending out. Exhale, fold, release. And we'll slowly come up, hands to hips, as we come back to top. And this is where we're going to practice some bilateral movement, which is also really good for mood regulation. And so here, still standing strong in our wide-legged forward fold, we'll extend the legs, the arms out, and on the exhale, choosing your favorite side, slowly twisting wherever you land, not needing to force, and then coming right back up on the inhale. This time we're going to exhale. Go ahead and give yourself a hug. Allow the chin to tuck here. Pausing in a moment of reflection for yourself, practicing some kindness. Inhale, arms sweep up and open. And then exhale, finding that opposite twist here. Being careful to try as best as you can, square those hips. And then inhale, coming slowly back up. Another hug, taking the opposite arm overhead. Or on top rather. And then going ahead here, just repeating those movements. Seeing if you can be slow and controlled, maybe playing with 4 counts or 5 counts to reach the bottom. And then slowly coming back up. Good. Way to pause, practice that nurturing, self-soothing touch with the hugs in between. Good. And for the sake of time, knowing you could spend as much time doing that to really integrate and feel some sort of mood regulation, we're going to go ahead and just come back into our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Closing down the eyes, finding that strength. And then from here, going ahead, we'll go ahead, take the arms up above. Pray your hands to touch as we exhale, fold. And then stepping back into a plank. And from here, lowering down onto your shins. And then from here, exhaling right back into child's pose. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you're used to doing that regular flow, and that's just fine. Whatever your body's needing. But seeing here, whether you want to take the extended child's pose, if needing to come up onto the fingertips, if feeling extra energy, inhale, go ahead, similar tensing and then releasing. Inviting in stress and anxiety, we can be a friend to it, and then exhale, softening and releasing. 2 more times. Good. And then we'll let these ladies rest, and I will just share with you during this time, I'm putting a weighted blanket over Leah's back here. keeping routine and really learning to nourish yourself is really important. I'm so glad you took time for you. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns, and keep doing the things that you can do to not feel alone in this and in control.